Good. My name is David Boxford, and I get to interview you in connection with the Charles Butts Pro Bono Award that you're receiving this year. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Well, first I'd like to just ask you a few questions and have you kind of tell our audience, because this tape will be on the TCDLA website, and everybody and anybody can watch it through the year. So just tell us a little bit about your background, your lineage in terms of practicing law.
Okay, so we're not going to go back to the very beginning.
You can go back as far as you want to, because I know you've been licensed since 1980.
I went to law school at the University of Houston after getting my undergrad from UT. Went and moved from there went from Houston to the giant town of West Texas, where I still live. Eventually I had an office there and also an office in Waco, and eventually moved over to Waco, and I've been there for a long time. I graduated in 1980 and was licensed, I guess, formally in 1981.
I think it was November 80.
It was November of 80,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So you've been practicing Waco for over 37 years, right?
Yeah.
I'm mathematically impaired. So
yeah, I am too. So
okay.
It's somewhere around there.
Okay. You're board certified in criminal law.
And criminal appellate law.
Appellate law. Okay.
So both of them.
You've served on the board of directors of TCDLA.
I have.
And you are also a member of the American Academy of Forensic Sciences, aren't you?
I've been a member for several years. Yes.
That's incredible. Now, you have also been involved in the Innocence Project of Texas since longer than I can remember. Do you remember the year you first got involved?
I do not. It's been at least probably 10 years ago, back when it was like 3 or 4 guys.
Okay. You handled the Todd Willingham case, did you not?
The last part of it, yeah.
Yeah. And you are considered, I think, an expert in the area of junk science relating to arson law.
I've handled a lot of those cases, yeah.
Okay. You've obtained exonerations of at least 2 inmates, have you not?
Yes.
And what that would be Calvin Washington and Joe Williams?
Yes.
Okay. Were they both on death row, or was just Washington on death row?
Actually, neither one of them was.
Okay,
they were both capital cases, but they both had life sentences.
Okay. Well, as you know, your efforts since I think about 2010 in connection with the Joe Bryan case, and one of the reasons why the committee has bestowed this award upon you along with Jesse. So why don't you tell us about the Joe Bryan case and your pro bono efforts on behalf of him?
My efforts, I guess my work on Joe's case probably started before that, and they came as the result of mostly, I guess, the work that had been done or the publicity surrounding the Washington and Williams cases. But Joe also had a relative who was a court reporter in one of the courts in Waco, and at one point she reached out to me and just asked me to look into it and to see if there's anything that could be done. He had 2 of the. I was familiar with the case because it had been tried when I was much younger, much younger. But I was practicing, and so I followed it like we all follow cases. Represented by 2 of the best lawyers in Texas, and definitely Waco. And so I always knew there was something there, and I just got involved, got interested in it, started working on it. Really didn't gain much traction until we were able to sort of get the hook of DNA, and then also a much more committed law student base.
Okay.
The head of which would have been Jesse.
Right, and that's what you were teaching at Baylor, I guess handling the Baylor Innocence Clinic, were you not?
Yes.
Is that the proper term?
Yeah, I don't know that we ever had a formal term for it because it never was really it was more a voluntary thing, but yeah, I think we termed it the Baylor Innocence Clinic.
Okay, and so your work preceded when you got Jesse involved, which I believe was 2013.
That sounds right, yes.
There's currently I guess, an amended writ, maybe a second amendment to that pending in the Court of Criminal Appeals?
Yeah, I stopped counting the number of amendments, but yeah, we've had a couple of amendments, but yeah, we had almost a week-long evidentiary hearing, and it ended up at the court. It's at the Court of Criminal Appeals, waiting for a decision now.
It's also my understanding that the state's appeal of the Chapter 64 DNA testing that you prevailed upon in the district court, they've taken that to the 11th Court of Appeals.
They have.
So you're still handling that.
Still handling that.
And importantly, you and Jesse submitted materials and asked, I guess, a complaint, or maybe two complaints to the Texas Forensic Science Commission, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I've been involved with them for a while, just as the result of the arson cases, and then after that a photogrammetry case. And so, yeah, blood spatter was one of those areas that I thought was something that it was time for somebody to take a look at, and they were the people to take a look at it, and what they did far exceeded what I anticipated. I had a general thought in my mind what I thought they might do, but what they did far exceeded that.
Why don't you tell the viewers? It's my understanding that in January of last year, 2018, they decided that effective May 1 of 2019, blood splatter evidence is now going to be subject to accreditation requirements in Texas, correct?
Yes.
That's a huge victory.
That's something that I would have never predicted.
Wow.
Yes, I anticipated that they would do what they had done in our photogrammetry case, which was sort of issue a report and guidelines and sort of suggestions for what an expert should, what qualifications they should have. I never thought they would make it an accredited field of forensics. So
you got to be very proud of that, Skip.
I am. I'm hoping it does away with a lot of the testimony that we've seen over the years.
And that type of testimony is very critical to the conviction, I guess, at both trials of Joe, correct?
It was an important part of it, yeah.
Okay. If you could, you have any idea how many thousands of hours you put into Joe's case?
I mean, no, I really don't, just because it spans over a long period of time.
At least 9 or 10 years, right?
At least, yeah. So it's been a lot.
Been worthwhile, I presume, from your perspective?
It's been, yes, definitely.
If you could tell our young lawyers and folks that are going to watch this, how would you urge them to get into pro bono working and the rewards of that?
That's one thing. When you and I started practicing, that was one of the things that was just sort of a given. I mean, we were just expected to. I mean, that was part of being a lawyer, is everybody expected you and thought that you should do pro bono work. And I think we've sort of gotten away from that. But really, the most rewarding cases I've done have been the pro bono work. I mean, I don't know that you can ever duplicate the feel of watching somebody walk out the prison gates after being there for 18 years. It's just a feeling that you can't describe it, and that was a pro bono case. So, I think it's something that there's a lot of reasons for doing it, but the gratification is one. But I think you learn a lot too, and the best advice I have is hook up with somebody that's working on a case. We've got lots of people now that are involved in it. The Innocence Project has cases in litigation that lawyers are always happy to take on. The Innocence Project always has cases, and there's always cases that are in litigation that can use some help, and I would just encourage people to volunteer and to tag on. You'll learn a lot. You'll your tail worked off probably, but you'll learn a lot, and it's really rewarding to really be given something back to the legal profession and to those clients who, for the most part, like Joe, were pretty well resigned to spending the rest of their life in prison, and to give them some hope and maybe a chance of getting out someday.
I don't want to ask you to prognosticate what the Court of Criminal Appeals will do, but do you have a sense on what they'll do on Joe's case with the pending writ?
I have a sense of what's going to happen procedurally, yes. Final decision, I have a hope. I don't know. When you get involved in a case, sometimes it's hard to separate hope from reality. So,
I understand. And just for the record, you're still actively involved in the Innocence Project, correct?
Yes.
You're on the board of directors, I believe it is, or
yes. Yeah.
Well, we salute and applaud you for all of your pro bono efforts, and we really appreciate you taking the time to allow us to interview you so that young lawyers, and even old lawyers like myself, can gain the benefit of your experience and your wisdom. So
I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity.
Anything else you want to tell our audience that we haven't chatted about?
No, other than just TCLA is a great organization, and something that if you're watching this, you're probably already involved, so they have a lot to provide.
Super. Thank you, Skip. Appreciate it.